The Pashtuns are also the victims of history. Like so many others in South Asia, someone drew a line on a piece of paper and they ended up in a different country. This is the story of another arbitrary border, one of the many bloody legacies of the British in South Asia. Pakistan and Afghanistan, Pakistan and India, India and China, India and Nepal, all the border disputes have their origin in the ill-conceived borders left behind by the British. Borders which divided communities and threw together disparate groups. Lines which over time erupted as the fault lines of South Asia. Look at the border that divides Afghanistan and Pakistan. It is called the Durand Line. Almost 2,500 kilometers long, the border was named after the then Foreign Secretary of Undivided India, Henry Mortimer Durand. This boundary was set without taking into account the ethnic groups that lived in this region. So the line cut straight through Pashtun land. It split the Pashtuns into two separate countries. The Pashtuns on the Pakistan side made up more than half of the total Pashtun population. After these lines were drawn, they came under the control of the Punjabis. Of course, the Pashtuns did not like it. But this was only the beginning of their problems. The Durand Line, you see, is a porous border. In the 1980s, it was exploited by the US and Pakistan to supply arms to the Mujahideen against the Soviets. In the 1990s, the same porous border helped Pakistan in creating the Taliban, the same terror group that would eventually lead to decades of violence against the Pashtuns. As I said, the British committed many such border blunders in this region. You would probably know about this one, the Radcliffe Line, the one that created Pakistan. To draw the actual border, the British flew in a lawyer from London, Sir Cyril Radcliffe. He arrived a month before the British were supposed to leave India, 1 month before. Sir Radcliffe had never visited India before that. He knew very little about the region, but he was the man chosen to divide India. He used census maps to draw the borders. He divided districts on the basis of the dominant religious group that lived there. We all know what followed: communal riots that killed tens of thousands of people. Here's another border that continues to fester. This is the McMahon Line, proposed by British colonial administrator Sir Henry McMahon in 1914. The British drew this line. The Chinese do not accept it. In fact, in 1914, the Chinese envoy who attended the Shimla summit initialed the agreement, but he stopped short of signing it. Later, China rejected the line altogether and called the Shimla negotiations a British attempt to shore up Tibetan autonomy. What did the British do? They left the problem for India to solve. And so, more than a century later, India and China do not have a settled border. As we speak, they're locked in a border standoff in Ladakh. Then we have Nepal. Nepal surrendered a part of its western territory in 1816. That's when the Treaty of Sagoli was ratified. It defines the origin of the Kali River as Nepal's border point with India. But you know what they left out? One small detail: the source of the Kali River. Now also the source of the India-Nepal territorial dispute. Both countries claim Kala Pani. And so we have it, decades of disputes which these countries have not been able to solve. South Asia lives with the curse of this British legacy.